You're like, oh, why did they talk? All you gotta do is get it set up with the shell up.
LA food is so diverse right now, more so than it ever has been.
Now the LA food scene is probably one of the most avant-garde in America.
We're in the midst right now of another evolution of a lot of small individual restaurants in Los Angeles that are changing the food scene.
LA is really well positioned. It's where a lot of fantastic produce grows, you know, in Southern California and throughout California, and then it's just how do you build on that? That's not enough. What do you do with those ingredients once you have them?
Everything we have in the restaurant is fresh. All of our vegetables we use farm to table. We have a local farmer that does all of our produce for us. They're right here in Los Angeles. So this just came in. This is, you want to go, I don't know if you want to go in there. All of this was just picked this morning and we'll use it by tomorrow. So here's squash. We're into squashes right now. So this is, you can hold that case here. I'll open another case. You want to hold that? Oh, sorry. So here's other squashes. So the difference in a lot of them farm to fresh produce versus what you'd buy in a grocery store or buy from a produce company is that the consistency is not always there. So you'll see the size of these are usually not really consistent because they are literally picked and brought here. So these were picked this morning and we'll probably use these at the latest by tomorrow afternoon. So this is all of our, you can see everything we have here is fresh. We are the largest artisan bakery in the world, and there's not one bread in this selection right here that has not been touched at least 17 times by a human before it's produced and sent out.
America right now is really looking towards Latin America and towards the Pacific Rim more so than ever, and not looking so much to Europe. Europe is it's peaked, and even though terrific food is being produced there, Europeans are not reinventing themselves.
Good evening, guys. We have one special tonight. Hamachi ceviche, Peruvian style hamachi ceviche. Okay, we do quickly marinate with ginger juice, a little bit of the garlic, and lemon juice. It's kind of sour with the ceviche. Okay, hamachi is a baby fish of the yellowtail. In Japan, as the fishes grow, they change the name of the fish. Start with hamachi, and the buri, then amasa. They have 3 different names they have. So hamachi is a baby fish of the yellowtail, but still content of the fat is very high, very buttery. That's why I use the strong lemon juice. Okay, served with the Bermuda red onion and the Fresno chili and cilantro. Okay, and then we served with the Felix made for me the homemade pickled peanuts. And we have orange braised sweet potato. Orange juice braised sweet potato. So all the sourness and sweetness of the sweet potato is very nice combination.
Hisashi is Japanese, and I'm Latin, so we're following the exact pattern of the food trends in our city. And yet we're combining them together. He'll prepare a part of a dish that's Asian influenced, not just Japanese, but Thai or Chinese. And then I'll prepare a part of the dish that's based on Latin cooking or ingredients, not necessarily Mexican. It could be Bolivian or Brazilian. And so there's a great camaraderie, exploration of food and ingredients, and putting that food on the same plate. These diverse techniques and flavor profiles. This is the backbone of the foods of Mesoamerica. It's a dried field corn, and we take it and cook it raw, and we cook it with calcium hydroxide. In Spanish, it's called cal. There's an area I discovered in central Mexico, the state of Querétaro, and they make these beautiful tortillas. Flours are infused right into the masa. The tortilla is taken and it's grilled on a griddle, and it's served with what's called avocado butter. People said, how can you serve a tortilla? You're serving tortilla with caviar, with lobster. And strangely, 20 years later, people are adopting this sort of elite style of eating and cooking with very ethnic sort of ground level market techniques and ingredients.
The only reason why Heley is unique is the produce. We probably have the best produces in America, so we can play with very seasonal, beautiful ingredients.
What I want to do is always find the best product, and that's always going to invariably be stuff that comes, from the locality. To serve the best food, you really have to start with the best ingredients.
The younger generation, which I've seen through the food events I produce, it's generally a younger crowd looking for kind of a new, exciting, fresh experience. And you'll see those people fan out at restaurants across the city every day.
Young people like loud music, a lot of cocktails. Cocktails have moved in sales above wine sales.
So we are going to make the barbacoa. It's the most popular cocktail at Rivera Restaurant and has been for the last 5 years. It's kind of put a roof on all of our heads. But we start with fresh bell pepper and 4 pieces of lime, adding a bit of chipotle puree. We also have lemon juice, fresh house-made ginger syrup, agave nectar, and we muddle. And 2 ounces of mezcal, this being a Del Maguey Vida. Do what's called a short and soft shake. And dump into a double old-fashioned glass. Taste to make sure everything is right. It's ready to go and ready to garnish with the famous and controversial stick of beef jerky. And that is the barbacoa.
When I opened my first restaurant in 1982, the word fusion of combining different cultures onto one plate had just been invented. And now the vocabulary of every restaurant in America is fusion, all the way down to fast food.
We use, stuff from Asia. We use spices from the Middle East and India, and we try and make sure that our food is interesting and complex and drawing from a lot of different traditions and cultures.
Here, you have the big Mexican influence, Japanese influence, completely different in San Francisco, completely different in Chicago.
When people come into a restaurant, they're spending their money, and oftentimes that's hard-earned money. And so I want to make sure that we make their experience and we make their time here worthwhile. we really appreciate that people come in and dine here, and we want to make sure that we show people that appreciation.
20 years or 30 years ago, I wouldn't probably consider us as good a restaurant city as a San Francisco or New York City. Today, I think we're getting to that point.
I think you'll generally see that. Some of the more adventurous business owners are restaurant owners who are willing to take a risk and open in neighborhoods that aren't quite established yet. A lot of times you'll see restaurant owners or bar owners leading the movement in terms of reshaping a neighborhood.
I just think if LA is just on a good track, on a good track to deliver very good food for the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, and be recognized as one of the best cities in the world to dine at.